Greetings in Jesus' name. My topic today is entitled When God Says No to Paul. And my text is taken from 2 Corinthians 12, verses 7 to 10. What is it that you expect from God when you pray? What answer do you expect to receive? Surely most of us phrase our praise in such a way that all God must do is to say yes. Yes, my child. Most of the testimonies that we hear as such that God says yes. Does God ever say no? It doesn't appear that way. Preachers preach we should bombard heaven until we get what we want from God. Our text reveals that this godly man received a no answer, even though God performed miracles after miracles through this said person. How did Paul react when God refused to remove the thorn of flesh? First, remember the one in control. God allows it. The first thing you need to know about is that whatever you are going through, God has allowed it to be there. Paul acknowledged this with his choice of wording in verse 7. Paul rightly saw God as the unseen agent overseeing the entire process. God is overseeing everything a Christian goes through. You may feel that you are losing the battle here and there, but God will win the war. Lean heavily on the one who allows you to endure whatever you are facing. He will see you through to the other side. Remember the one in control. 2. Recognize the source of all evil. Satan brings it. As in the story of Job, it is Satan who brings all evil, all harm, all destruction into our lives. He only moves with God's permission, but he still moves. Read verse 7b. He recognized that all evil, including this tormented, buffeting thorn, comes from the evil one. While we knew that God had allowed it, he never blamed God. Instead, he held Satan responsible, the one whom Jesus said comes to steal, kill, and to destroy, according to John 10, verse 10. Thirdly, rely on God's strength in your weakness. You can accept it. In Paul's life, he realized that God had a purpose behind the thorn. 3 times Paul had prayed for its removal, reminding us of the 3 times Jesus prayed in Gethsemane for the removal of the cross. And in both cases, God said no. Jesus said, your will be done. Paul heard from God, my grace is sufficient. Paul relied on God in this weakness, and we must do the same. God's grace can sustain. It sustained Paul for the rest of his life. We can honestly say, when I am weak, that's when I am strong, because God's grace is all I need. In closing, God's grace is amazing. You and I cannot make it without it. God can turn your weakness into strength as you trust him. Don't join the bandwagon in believing that God is obligated to say yes to your requests. He said no to.